Something happened live on daytime television that stopped fans mid-scroll and sent the internet into a full spiral of reactions. Kelly Ripa, one of the most recognizable faces in American morning TV, sat in her chair, looked directly into the camera, and said four words that nobody expected. And for the first time in years, people started genuinely wondering, is the queen of daytime TV questioning her own throne? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we cover the real stories behind your favorite celebrities, not just the headlines, but the moments that actually matter. And today, we're diving into something that feels equal parts hilarious, surprisingly human, and genuinely thought-provoking. We're talking about Kelly Ripa, her husband and co-host Mark Consuelos, and one very unexpected on-air moment that has fans, media critics, and pop culture commentators all asking the same question. What does the future of Live with Kelly and Mark actually look like? Stick around, because this story is more layered than you'd think. To truly understand why this moment hit the way it did, you have to understand who Kelly Ripa is and what she represents in American television culture. Kelly Ripa has been a fixture on daytime TV for over 2 decades. She first joined Live back in 2001, stepping into a chair previously held by legends, and she didn't just fill it, she redefined it. With her sharp wit, effortless charm, and that unmistakable ability to make any conversation feel like a coffee chat with your most entertaining friend, Kelly became the gold standard of the morning talk show format. She won Daytime Emmy Awards. She built a production company. She wrote a best-selling memoir. And through it all, she maintained something rare in Hollywood, a sense of humor about herself that made audiences feel like they actually knew her. Then came one of the most talked-about transitions in daytime TV history. When Ryan Seacrest stepped down from the co-host seat in 2023, rather than bring in a fresh face or a rotating roster of guests, Kelly made a choice that surprised many and delighted millions. She invited her real-life husband, actor Mark Consuelos, known widely for his long-running role on Riverdale, to join her at that desk. The result? Live with Kelly and Mark, a rebranded morning show that promised something TV hadn't quite seen before. A real married couple navigating real conversations, with decades of shared history sitting right there between them on camera. And for the most part, it worked beautifully. But here's where today's story really begins. During a recent episode of Live with Kelly and Mark, the show ventured into what has become one of the most reliably entertaining segments in morning television, the pop culture and slang roundup. You know the type. A producer drops a list of trending Gen Z or Gen Alpha phrases onto the host's desk. The audience leans in, and the magic unfolds. And on this particular day, the magic was spectacular. Kelly was handed a list of new slang terms currently dominating social media, group chats, and the vocabulary of anyone under the age of 25. Terms that had gone viral on platforms like TikTok and were showing up everywhere from meme accounts to mainstream news articles. And as Kelly read through them one by one, her expression shifted from confident to confused to something that can only be described as existential. She got through a few terms with her usual quick humor, throwing out guesses that were entertainingly wrong in the best possible way. The audience laughed. Mark, sitting beside her with that signature smirk, offered his own equally baffled interpretations. But then Kelly paused on one particular term. She looked at the card. She looked at Mark. She looked out at the audience. And she said, with complete sincerity and a touch of dramatic flair that only Kelly Ripa can pull off, "I genuinely have no idea what this means. And I'm not sure I'm supposed to." The audience erupted. But it was what came after that laugh line that nobody expected. Because Kelly didn't move on immediately. She sat with the moment for just a beat longer than usual. And in that brief pause, she said something that felt surprisingly candid for live morning television. She reflected out loud in front of millions of viewers on what it means to be a host who built her career on connecting with audiences, and to suddenly feel like the language of culture was moving faster than the conversation could keep up with. She wasn't complaining. She wasn't bitter. She was being genuinely, disarmingly honest. And that honesty, the internet felt every single second of it. Fans immediately started reacting, and the clip began circulating across social media platforms within hours of the broadcast. On X, formerly Twitter, the responses range from pure affection to genuine reflection. Fans who have watched Kelly for years were quick to flood her mentions with support, with comments like, "This is exactly why we love her," and "Kelly being real is the whole reason I still watch morning TV." Entertainment commentary accounts started pulling the clip and stitching it with reactions. TikTok creators, some of them in the very demographic whose slang had sparked the moment, weighed in with a surprising level of warmth. Rather than poking fun, many of them celebrated it. One creator with hundreds of thousands of followers posted a response video that simply said, "Kelly Ripa, not knowing the slang is the most relatable thing that has ever happened on television." Media outlets picked the story up quickly. Entertainment news sites highlighted not just the humor of the moment, but the deeper conversation it sparked about generational relevance, the evolving landscape of daytime television, and what it means for a host to maintain authenticity in an era where audiences can sense inauthenticity from miles away. But that wasn't the end of the story. Because underneath the laughs and the viral clip, there was a genuinely interesting question being asked. One that the entertainment industry has been quietly wrestling with for some time now. Daytime television, as a format, has changed dramatically over the past decade. The rise of streaming, the dominance of social media, and the fragmentation of audiences have all reshaped what morning TV means and who it's for. Talk shows that once commanded enormous ratings now compete not just with each other, but with podcast episodes, YouTube videos, Instagram Reels, and the endless scroll of content available on every device at every hour of the day. The pressure on hosts like Kelly to remain relevant, relatable, and genuinely connected to the cultural conversation has never been higher. And Kelly, to her enormous credit, has always seemed aware of this. She's spoken in interviews about the challenge of staying current, the importance of being willing to laugh at yourself, and the unique dynamic of co-hosting with her husband, which she's described as both a gift and a constant negotiation. Mark Consuelos, for his part, has been a grounding presence on the show. His background as a dramatic actor gives him a different energy than the traditional talk show co-host, and their genuine chemistry, the kind built over nearly 3 decades of marriage and 2 children raised mostly outside the Hollywood spotlight, gives Live with Kelly and Mark something that can't be manufactured. But the slang moment, as funny as it was, touched on something real. The question of how long even the most beloved host can continue to straddle the line between generational icon and active cultural participant is one that the entertainment industry doesn't always like to address directly. Kelly Ripa addressed it, live, in front of millions of people, with complete grace. And that, perhaps, is what makes this story resonate beyond the immediate laugh. There's something deeply human about the moment Kelly paused on that slang card. Because every single person watching has had a version of that experience, the first time a reference flew over your head, the first time you realized a cultural shift had happened and you'd been left slightly behind. It's uncomfortable. It's funny. And if you're brave enough to be honest about it, it's actually kind of beautiful. Kelly Ripa has built her entire career on being brave enough to be honest in exactly that way. She doesn't pretend. She doesn't perform a version of herself that's curated to perfection. She sits in that chair every morning and shows up as exactly who she is, a woman in her 50s, in a long and real marriage, navigating the intersection of celebrity and genuine human experience. And when she said she wasn't sure she was supposed to know what that slang term meant, she wasn't admitting defeat. She was doing what the very best hosts do. She was telling the truth. For Live with Kelly and Mark as a show, moments like these are actually gold. In an era where audiences are increasingly skeptical of anything that feels polished or produced, authenticity is the most valuable currency a morning show can have. The clip going viral wasn't a liability, it was free advertising. Millions of people who might not watch the show on a regular basis were suddenly reminded that this program exists, that it's genuinely entertaining, and that the 2 people hosting it are worth showing up for. Entertainment industry analysts have noted that talk shows with genuine host chemistry, especially those rooted in real-life relationships, tend to have longer staying power than those built around celebrity glamour alone. Kelly and Mark have that chemistry. They've had it for decades. And if Kelly Ripa is quietly questioning what the future looks like, not in a crisis, but in the reflective, thoughtful way that any intelligent person in their prime occasionally does, that's not a warning sign. That's a sign that she's paying attention. At the end of the day, the story of Kelly Ripa and that slang card is about something much bigger than morning television. It's about what it means to show up authentically in a world that's constantly changing the rules. It's about the courage to admit in front of millions that you don't have all the answers and to find the humor in that rather than the fear. Kelly Ripa has been doing this for over 20 years. And if this moment is any indication, she's nowhere near done. Whatever the future holds for Live with Kelly and Mark, one thing is clear. As long as Kelly Ripa is sitting in that chair, laughing at herself, keeping it real, and sharing the chaos of the morning with audiences across America, daytime television will always have a reason to matter. So here's what we want to know. Do you think Kelly Ripa should keep going? Or do you think it's time for a new chapter? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. And if you enjoyed this celebrity update, subscribe for more entertainment news and Hollywood stories. We post new videos every week, and you don't want to miss what's coming next.